Usually Disney and Pixar dominate the Oscars when it comes to animation. But last year, both studios weren't really successful. Disney released only one animated movie, which is Strange World, the one that most casual viewers didn't even know was coming. The movie got a review bombed because of LGBTQ representation and did not perform well in the box office. Pixar had a similar problem with their Lightyear, and even attachment to the popular franchise Toy Story could not help. However, we got more than enough decent animated movies in 2022. Five of them were selected for the Oscar shortlist of nominees for the Best Animated Picture. And these movies were actually good, and some were even great. So I'm about to rank these 5 movies from worst to best. This list is gonna be based strictly on my personal feelings and opinion. Also should be noted that this year we haven't gotten any non-American movies. Usually we have either some overly pretentious European movie or a Japanese anime, but not this year. This year is different. The story is pretty generic, so is the animation. It's the only movie in this list with this generic 3D animation, by the way. I do think this movie would have worked better if it had 2D style. It would have certainly helped the Sea Beast feel less like How to Train Your Dragon, and more like something original. However, this movie is actually good. Yeah, there are no bad movies in this list. What I love about the Sea Beast is how it manages to capture this feeling of thalassophobia, which is an intense fear of huge bodies of water. I think many people do have this phobia, even if they don't really realize it. A huge creature staring at you from the mysterious depth of the ocean and then slowly disappears into the unknown. I'm honestly a sucker for stories about the ocean. It always captures my imagination, it makes me wonder. This is why I like reading Lovecraft, and Atlantis is one of my favorite Disney movies. And the underwater world looks really fascinating in the Sea Beast. Plus the designs of the sea monsters are cool, except maybe for Red. She looks really bland and generic. The soundtrack is also pretty great, it's like How to Train Your Dragon meets Pirates of the Caribbean. But undoubtedly the best thing about this movie, it's that one of its main characters voiced by William Butcher himself.
Yeah, he's got a hard-on for mass murder and giving kids cancer, and his big old answer to the existential clusterfuck that is humanity is to nail his own bleeding son to a plane. That is a cunt move. Come on, even you got to agree with me.
Hey, please.
We should lob a fucking nuke at him,
Sir.
get it over and done with. You know what I'm saying?
This one is based on a short video, or a series of videos, I'm not really sure, which was released over 12 years ago on YouTube. It actually became a full-length feature that was distributed by A24, no less. Anyway, the movie is pretty unique on this list. At first I was even surprised that this one was nominated for the Best Animated Picture, but I guess this makes perfect sense, since the main character Marcel is fully animated, and we see him most of the movie. In the movie, Marcel is living with his grandmother and trying to find the family that he got separated with. The movie is very heartwarming at times, and Marcel has such an amazing soothing voice. But I feel like the overall story was not enough for a full-length movie, even if it's just over half an hour and not that long. Marcel only managed to capture my imagination for the first 20 minutes or so. But I put this one higher than the Sea Beast because of its unique animation and the fact that this was noticed by the Oscars.
Peace. Yeah, obviously peace. Like, what a weird thing to try to test to see if someone else is into. Like, of course I'm into peace. No, sorry, I'm a real war person. No, war. Actually, I sign all my personal letters. War.
This movie is good for 2 reasons. First, obviously, it's animation. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse really did change modern animation and encouraged it to be more creative. Let's be honest, the majority of big animated movies still look like frozen clones. DreamWorks is accepting this change. I think every major studio will in the future. The success of the second Puss in Boots confirms that the audience does want more creative movies. that embrace animation instead of becoming more and more photorealistic. The battle scenes are amazingly animated and they have this comic book feeling. The second reason why this movie is good is because of how realistically it portrays intense fear and panic attacks. Honestly, I haven't seen anything like this in the children's movies before. But I had too high expectations before watching Puss in Boots. I was expecting something totally amazing that would blow my mind, but it's just a good movie with a pretty mediocre script, if I'm being honest. Death was a great villain for sure, but the other two did not impress me at all. The entire story felt extremely rushed, and that dog character was extremely annoying. But despite everything, this movie absolutely deserves to be on this list, because it might be very important for the future of the industry.
You are no bounty hunter. You are death.
And I don't mean it metaphorically or rhetorically or poetically or theoretically or in any other fancy way.
Lightyear was a failure indeed, not only because of unsatisfying box office results. The film itself was very boring and mediocre, unfortunately, even though the potential was insane. Turning Red, on the other hand, I think was such an exciting movie to watch. It is a really wholesome coming-of-age story, where turning into a giant red panda is obviously a metaphor for puberty and anxiety that every teenager experiences. In a way, it is similar to another great Pixar movie, Inside Out. The style of animation looks and feels different from your regular Pixar. It feels more cartoonish, I think, more like Kel art style. This is another reason why this movie is better than Lightyear. When you look at Lightyear, it tries so hard to look as realistic as possible, to the point where you realize that nothing would really change what was a live-action movie. And this is not 2010 anymore, when Disney was trying really hard to impress everyone with their amazing 3D animation, which costed them an insane amount of money. Making cartoons super realistic is a losing strategy these days. One question I have to this movie is why it takes place in Canada. If it took place in New York City or Los Angeles, I don't think anything would change. But that's not an issue, obviously.
It's just me. Shut up. It's okay. It's me. Calm down. All right? I'm gonna let go, and you're gonna be chill. Got that?
This is without a doubt the best animated movie to me that was released last year. Guillermo del Toro is a master of creating dark and haunting fairy tales. And Pinocchio is not an exception. Pinocchio portrays the horrors of fascism and militarism. The main character is literally being sent to a military camp for patriotic youth, where kids are taught how to use weaponry and gas masks and wage war. This is horrible because it is still happening right now, and for some people it is reality. The movie has a very important anti-war message, the message of kindness and humanity. The designs in this movie are also great and the ending is chilling. If Oscars treated animation better, this one would have gotten a nomination for the best picture. This I don't doubt.
You filthy coward! Yes, you are weak. You are no son of mine!